Before turning to my questions, I want to first address the concerns around Section 117 compliance being housed in the Office of Federal Student Aid. There have been comments made to argue that the department's move of Education Department's move of Section 117 compliance back to the Office of Federal Student Aid is a poor decision, when in fact the Office of General Counsel, where it was, is in no way equipped to evaluate financial statements and provide resources in the same manner as FSA is. Unfortunately, we continue to block enhanced transparency and implementation of Section 117 by failing to increase funding for FSA. So I just wanted to make that point. Mr. Moore, exactly, can you just for the record explain how compliance with Section 117 enhances our national security?
Thank you, Congressman. I think that it enhances national security by providing full disclosure of information about possible foreign influences at universities, particularly universities with significant research institutions on campus, where STEM technology is funded by the taxpayers. And I think having a knowledge about the relationships between foreign donors, especially from some countries that don't wish us well, is extremely important for you as members of Congress and for the American people.
And Mr. Singleton, does Section 117 compliance affect investment decisions made by university endowments?
No, it does not.
Thank you. Mr. Yang, the conversation about foreign influence in higher education can often lead to over-sensitization and an irrational fear of foreign nationals. The title of this hearing is somewhat problematic in that it seeks to instill fear into our minds. Can you say a word about how this kind of rhetoric can lead to the rise in incidents of bias, violence, and discrimination against Asian American students and scholars?
Thank you very much for that question. Certainly, whenever we talk about foreign influence, it is an appropriate topic to talk about. But then when we start talking about whether it is the Chinese as a whole, even talking about it just in terms of the CCP, it can lead to overgeneralizations. One of the other analogies that I had, I referred to the Cold War earlier, was certainly during the Cold War, and even now, we always refer to the Putin regime. We always refer to sort of the authoritarianism in Russia. And during World War II, we always refer to as Hitler's Germany or Nazi Germany. But when it comes to Asia, we do not have that same nuance. During World War II, we refer to it at best as the Japanese. No one knew who Hirohito was. Here now, we should be more specific. If we are concerned about the autocratic regime in China, name the autocratic regime, whether it's Xi Jinping and his policies or the like. If we start to get to that level of nuance, that level of specificity, then we start to reduce the likelihood of violence, repercussions, quote-unquote collateral damage against the Asian American community.
Thank you. And can you remind us of the comments made by AAJC on the affirmative action cases recently decided by the Supreme Court?
By who, sorry?
The comments made by AAJC?
Sure.
On the affirmative action cases.
So with respect to affirmative action, this is, again, recognizing that our community is very diverse. We have been supportive of affirmative action. We think it's important for the narrative of America to make sure that we understand that America includes all of our different communities, whether they're Asian Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans. And too often, our community has been used as a wedge to drive, again, that narrative of we are somehow a model minority that is set apart from other communities. So it's important to recognize that race still matters in this country. One message that I have for college students in talking about universities is that they should still be talking about race, their upbringing in their college essays. That is something that was explicitly allowed by Chief Justice Roberts. And our university's officials need to recognize that diversity plays a critical role in our education system. And that diversity will only strengthen our education system.
And can you say a word about diversity within the Asian community?
The Asian American community is exceptionally diverse. And sometimes you think of people like me, an East Asian Chinese American male. But obviously it includes Filipino Americans, Vietnamese Americans, South Asian Americans, Indian Americans, Pakistani Americans. And we need to recognize that diversity. So when we talk about affirmative action benefits many of those communities that otherwise would not have a chance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.